How do you like my new workspace? I think it's pretty cool. I got some candles here, and I have a twister chair, which I really like. And one thing before I get into this video is I have to mention that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. I'm not even over exaggerating. I'm proud to be sponsored by them because I really like the website. So we're gonna talk about Skillshare in a bit. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so back to Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with over, I don't know how many thousand teachers, how many thousand classes and courses, but there is a lot of classes. There is a lot of courses that you can learn in every type of field. Let's say you're interested in learning photography, and not because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, I have to compliment Skillshare, but Skillshare is the best place legit for people who are interested into learning photography, videography, design, logo designing, branding, all this stuff. You can find a lot of courses with each courses will go for like about 1, 2, 3 hours. So just imagine all these information you get in one place. So the first 500 people who sign up via the link that I put on the description box below will get 2 months free. Thank you. We'll get 2 months free of Skillshare Premium. So let's say if you're not happy with it, you can cancel anytime you want. You have 2 months, like legit 2 months of free learning. So that's amazing. So you guys, as I mentioned, it's amazing to have 2-month trial of premium Skillshare. And if you're wondering, this is the second day that I'm shooting this video. That's why the setup is changed. So let's talk about the thing that I missed. So I want to tell you how I shot the picture itself before we jump into editing. So this is more like a physical part that you know what you're doing. So for this particular image, I use the camera that I'm recording with right now. It's Sony A7 Mark III without SNR. It's just legit amazing for the price that I got. With the quality that I'm getting, the 120 frame per second for video, slow motion, it's just amazing. So I'm really happy with this camera. And the lens that I used, it's actually a Canon lens Sigma 35 1.4, but I'm using a Sigma adapter. So even with an adapter, it's still amazing to get this quality with the camera like this. So how I shot it, basically I shot with 1.4 aperture, just normal depth and field background. You get with 1.4, you get a very silky smooth background, a very depth and field background, which that makes the photo really interesting. So guys, that was physical part. Now let's jump to the technical part, which is editing process. So without further ado, let's just jump to the screen of my laptop. Alright guys, so right now we are in Lightroom, and as you can see, this is the final result. And the crazy thing about this, that I did all of this, the color grading, the glow, the light from here, popping the eyes, all in Lightroom, which is amazing. I mean, sometimes you don't really need Photoshop. Like if it's like a very heavy manipulation edit, otherwise I wouldn't really need Photoshop. So that's why I think having Lightroom is like the biggest advantage, and having the ability that you can copy and paste any look when you're done with an edit, it's just like saving a ton of time, and it's just amazing to have that tool. Before I do anything, let me show you the before and after here. Before, after, as you can see. So let's go ahead and click reset. Now I can apply one of my preset here and pretty much get the similar look. I have like full look. This might be not the good one, but like film look, I think it will be really similar, as you can see. But I want to show you and break it down step by step how you can achieve that look. So if you're interested, you can get my preset packs. The link will be in the description. Anyway, so the first thing what I did, I kind of played with the white balance here. So I added a little bit of the warm temperature here, around 6,000, maybe 100, yeah. Now obviously you can go with the white balance that warms up. Maybe your photo is already warmed up, so you don't have to really touch it. The magenta tone is like around 7 plus already, which is good. And the next thing, we have basic adjustment here, and I want to go with adding some contrast here around 25. Obviously I should not mention the numbers because your picture might be different. Yeah, I might also bring down a little bit of the exposure because I want to bring back more detail in the background, also on the face. When I do that, I want to also add some shadows so we can bring back the light from the darkness area. So I think I want to go with 100 for the shadow, and I might also bring down more of the highlight here around -61 or something half, After that, I want to bring down some of the whites so we can have more depth and details in the brightness area. And same thing with blacks, but I want to add some blacks around 15. As you can see, we already got a very high dynamic range photo, which I really like. And if you notice from my latest photos on Instagram, you would notice that all of my pictures are like top, like they are on point for dynamic range, which I really love. So this is before, after. So far I really like it. So let's go ahead for presence. We have clarity, the haze. I might bring down a slight clarity around -1, and also bring down some of the vibrance because I don't really like boosting the color. So -24 is pretty good, I think. All right, so now after that, my favorite part is tone curves, and I have this technique that I use mostly on my pictures, which I create 3 points here and 1 point here on the midtone. So this point is the highlight, this is the midtone, and this is the shadow, where you can play the brightness and the darkness. So what I do, I bring this point, I bring this point here, somewhere here, and I also bring the midtone somewhere here. And then on the bottom left corner, I gradually I go up like this, so we have this fade or matte look to the photo. And we're gonna do the same thing for the highlight here, so we can have a fade, matte look to the highlight. As you can see, we already kind of got the look that we want, so before and after. And this is the technique that I use most of the time for remaining adding a little bit of fade, which is really interesting, and it's kind of a trendy look nowadays. So yeah, after that, after RGB channel, I go play with colors. So if you don't know, you can actually play with colors in tone curves, which is, you can get really amazing result with it. And you can shift between colors and create something really magical by using these tone curves on different channels. So we're gonna pretty much do the same thing. We're not gonna over edit the color grading, so I'm gonna do pretty much like that, making 3 points and playing around with highlight, midtone, and shadow here. And then we're gonna go to green, so we can make a balance between red. We have to use green, and plus we have to use blue. So I want to do the same thing, pretty much the same thing for green too, as we did with red. Very close. And now after that, I want to go to blue and pretty much do the same thing, but I think with blue I'm not gonna go with too much. So from here I'll go like that, and here I would go, I think I'll leave this, the midtone, and shadow will play with it a little bit. I'm gonna bring it down like that. I think I want to go back to green, add a little bit of the highlight here, bring down that a little bit, and then go back to red, maybe play around with it. Now you have to be really careful by playing with these points, because you can legit have a different color grading by just slightly, if you slightly go over it with that. So guys, now I'm pretty much done with color grading on tone curves. Now after that, I want to go to HSL, which is one of the most important section in Lightroom if you want to get really good color grading, matching the colors in the background and the foreground. So what I'm gonna focus on HDL, Basically, I'm gonna decrease pretty much all the colors and maybe also play with some colors, maybe change the hue from red. You know, for example, I want to go with a little bit of the hue around 10 for the red, and then bring back saturation around -10, and also luminance -15, so we can also decrease the brightness of red, so we can have this kind of a dramatic look to it. And same thing with orange. I'm not gonna play with the hue, I will just go with saturation, decrease it to -10, and pretty much same with luminance. Then we have yellow, I want to go with -10 and decrease the hue, just added more like a orange brownie tune to it. And then we have saturation here, also want to go with -10. And then we have luminance. Actually, I'm going to go with -20. I think that would be better, so we don't have this yellow cover to the image. Then I want to go with -10 on the luminance, and pretty much, so basically I'm just going to continue the process of decreasing the colors and maybe matching the colors. So alright guys, so now we are done with HSL, and you might think we don't have a good result now. You might think that, what is this? Okay, so far, before, after, I mean, I don't think it's good, right? So to finish the color grading process, there is 2 sections left. One is split toning and one is the final step, which is camera calibration. But now we're gonna go with matching the colors or balancing the colors. As you can see, now we have one color graded, which is more like a green vibe or like brownie tune to it. So to make a balance between them, I'm gonna go ahead and choose this color here. And then I wanna go with, I don't know, maybe I will go with this color, 63 would be good. And make sure the saturation is not that high so we don't, you know, we don't go with too much boosting the color. So basically that what we did, we kind of added like a brownie yellowish tune to the highlight. And for the shadow we can go with this color. It's more like a blue color, or here. Yeah, I think those would be nicer. And we can go with around 12 of the saturation. Now after that I want to bring down, and I want to add some sharpening. Obviously that's what I do most of the time to, you know, boost the sharpening and boost the edge, so it will be more attractive. And now let's scroll down and we have effect. I want to also add some, you know, vignette to the rounded picture, which is really amazing. And last but not least, we have camera calibration here. In camera calibration I want to add some hue to the red primary. I want to play with it. Let's see if I can get the colors right, and then I'll explain later what I did exactly. So guys, as we mentioned, that this is the final step of color grading. Alright, so did you see the difference what I did? So before, after. So what I did exactly was I was lacking the skin tone. So as you can see, before I started using calibration, and then this is the after. So I managed to bring back the skin tone by using red primary and then playing around with green primary and decreasing the saturation on green so we don't have the boosted green in the background. I kind of added the red primary here so we can bring back the skin tone on the face. Last but not least, we're basically done with the adjustment, with the basic adjustment. I want to go ahead and use one of my favorite tool in Lightroom, which is adjustment brush. Now with adjustment brush, obviously we have to go with, now you already know the final result was there was a glow light here and here. So what I did basically, I went with around 1 of the exposure here, so we can get a really bright background with a glowy effect. And the glowy effect that you can get by decreasing the clarity to -100, and also bringing down some of the haze around maybe -30. And I think that's it. Or maybe also add a little bit of the warm temperature. So yeah, and now let's go ahead and play with it. All right, one thing that I want to go and change, I will go back to my basic adjustment and add some exposure here. And then I want to get back to adjustment brush. I want to click on the brush that I just made. I want to decrease a little bit of the brightness here, and maybe also add some of the warm temperature. Yeah, I mean, pretty much like that. Bring down some of the highlight. Also make sure the brush is really huge. Also the feather is 100, so you can get a smooth brush look. So yeah, I mean pretty much like that. Bring down a little of the exposure, and boom. So I might also add a little bit more warm temperature here, 6,200, yeah. And bringing down a little bit of the highlight. And I think one thing that I haven't done properly was the tone curves. Let me get back to the RGB here and see what I can do to fix this. Okay, now one thing left is getting back to adjustment brush and then making my brush a little bit small and then zoom in here so we can pop out the eyes. That's the only thing that's left. And from here, as you can see, I want to add some exposure, but obviously I'm not gonna go with the same adjustment that I just went for glowing the background. So I want to go with something around just brightening the eye, which is gonna be around 1 on the exposure. Let's add more size to the brush. Now from here, all you have to do is just to paint on the inside line of the eye. Simply, you get an amazing result. This is pretty much it. When I edited this, I don't know, I did something with color grading. I think I missed something with tone curves. Maybe I shift a little bit of the green too much. Maybe I shift a little bit of blue, but I think I'll fix it now by using this slider. Oh, this is nice. Okay. All right, we're getting back on the track. That's why I'm telling you, you have to be careful with using tone curves, especially if you want to color grade with red, green, blue channel. So it's a really tricky color grading tool, but it's amazing if you use it right. So as you can see, this is before, after. So far it's pretty good. It might not be the same result as we started, but it's very similar. And to make it more interesting, I think I'm gonna add a vignette to the bottom of the image. So I'm gonna go with bringing down the exposure, but make sure we don't go too much. All right, guys. So I will do last couple touches, and by using these sliders here on basic adjustment, and see if I get a similar look to the one that I originally have. So I'm just gonna add some of the warm temperature here and add some of the magenta around plus 25. And yeah, I think by only doing that we got a very similar look. So before, after, so far it's really nice. And then I'm gonna get back to my adjustment brush here, click here, and I might also decrease a little bit of the exposure because I don't want a unrealistic blowing from the brightness here on the background. So I think it's pretty good. So far so good. And yeah, pretty much like this, guys. Before, after. It might not be the same result that I showed you in the beginning, but it's very similar, and it's pretty much the same technique that I used in the beginning. So guys, this is it, and if you like the tutorial, please go ahead, give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming tutorial like this. If you're into this kind of stuff, let me know. I will make more tutorials like this. Also, give me some feedbacks about what you don't like, what you like, or anything. What do you want me to do in the next future post tutorials or tutorials? So yeah, if you're interested to get my preset pack, the link will be in the description. And I think my presets are very reasonable with the price. I mean, nobody would say that my presets are bad, but the preset that I have are really high quality with a very decent price. So if you're interested, just go and check them out. There are before and after. There are more depth and detail inside the website. So the link will be in the description, and have fun with it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.